So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiancé MK. I'm Mr. O, and today Miss H and I will be discussing Season 7, Episode 10 of 90 Day Fiancé. In this week's episode, Jasmine goes to one of Blake's concerts, Juliana goes over to Sarah's house, Angela goes to a Nigerian breakfast place, and Mike and Marcel both go home. We'll talk about all the couples, have our class dunces, students of the week, and life lessons. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Good.
Hello, Mr. O.
Good.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Getting back into the grind.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, means we're like winding down because at the high school, it's like the end of the semester. It's like we get back from winter break and then it's like the end.
Yeah, I have one more week before mine ends, and end of the semester is always crazy for teachers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You had a lot of grade grubbing happening around this time.
Yeah. You sure do.
What is it, like trying to wring water out of a stone? Is that what
Yeah,
they
water
say?
out of a stone. Exactly. Exactly. That's when you get like, all right, so that assignment that was due in November, I can do that over again, right? You're like, no, you can't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so it's been a little while since we did a rumor roundup, so we thought we would do a 2-minute rumor roundup.
2-minute rumor roundup.
Okay, so Ymir of Chelsea and Ymir is currently working on music and performed in Pasadena, California last Thursday. Mohammed is pissing people off, saying he's homeless when he's really just traveling around in a big rig being a truck driver. Jason of Jason and Cassia was interviewed by the Fraudcast podcast recently, where he revealed how everything was staged and he was accused of being a misogynist by the host. Lauren and Alex had a gender reveal and found out it was a boy. Congratulations. Kyle of Kyle and Noon has started a career as a realtor and sold his first house last month. If you're in the Portland area and need a house, let him know. Nicole is still shilling Boombod and insisting her and Azin are still a couple. There are no future plans for any TLC shows. Evelyn and David are trying to make a life in LA, where Evelyn insists on insulting our ears, making it in the music business. Molly of Molly and Luis was recently on Jimmy Kimmel Live with guest host Brie Larson, but Molly didn't really share anything we didn't already know. Jay is teasing something big on Instagram. Speaking of Ashley, she got her Instagram back after the whole Lauren drama and feels like she won because now she's verified. They're now saying that they misunderstood the paperwork and their divorce is not finalized and they're still married. Jonathan of Jonathan and Fernanda has been flaunting a new girlfriend on Instagram who seems a little bit more age appropriate. Steven and Olga appear to still be together even though they claim things are complicated. Tom was in New York with the current cast for the Tell-All and successfully recruited Sinjin and Tanya into his coffee MLM. He's also been busy trying to make himself ungag-worthy by injecting his face with fillers and Botox and trying his hand at cool sculpting. Fortunately, we're all subjected to seeing these procedures since he needs to get it for free in exchange for publicity. Stacey appears to still be with Florian, as far as we can tell, and no one is claiming pregnancy. Paul and Karini, it's unclear if they're getting divorced or not because they've been posting a lot of family photos and appearing happy. Paul continues to post cryptic crap that makes it seem like things aren't good. Dean was apparently in hot water for making fun of Tim's sexuality on Pillow Talk. We haven't seen him or Tariq since. At first, Dean stood by his comments, but now he's reached out to Tim and both have made amends. Things didn't work out with Ricky and his Russian love. Good for her. Progress is being made on Omar coming to America. He still needs a green card or a visa, but he has established a legitimate family relation to Avery, according to USCIS, so that's progress. Corey seems to be back in Ecuador with Evelyn, and it appears that they are back together. Lauren is banished to Ecuador, but she had a falling out with Evelyn, and it's unclear what she's been doing down there other than posting negative things about Tanya on Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, Laura has slipped into Max's DM. Max as in 12-year-old Max of Michael and Sarah. And Devin decided to call her out for grooming, and an Instagram fight ensues. This I'll file under very unconfirmed. A customer of Caesars is claiming that he told them he was training to be on Naked and Afraid. No reputable news sources picked up on this, so I'm gonna say crazy rumor. Well, that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't want to see Naked Caesar. I know more of these people now than the last time you did it. Since we're doing our classic episodes,
Yeah.
more of those names are familiar.
I know those people.
Oh man, I respect the ones who just stay off the social media when they're done. Just stop it.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. All right. So, where do you want to start with this last episode, the new episode?
All right, let's start. We always do Blake and Jasmine.
Oh, they actually were a little bit more interesting this time around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit more interesting. So the sister must be back from New York because Jasmine invites her to go to Blake's performance, which is supposed to be an artist showcase.
And she wants to go with her sister because she's really not enthused about it at all.
No, she even says she doesn't care about his music.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand his lyrics. It's like, I want to know what she actually is into. It seems like she's a curmudgeon about everything. His friends, his family, pretty much like sleeping in the same bed with him. Well,
not
at least
sleeping in the same bed with him. It's all, everything's complain.
Talking while she's eating. Like, she doesn't seem to like anything. What does she get excited about?
That's true. Besides lip fillers.
Yeah, right. Oh, so Blake is asking her advice on what he should wear, and then he has this crazy colored mask. Just reminded me of Fat Albert and the Junkyard Gang. Do you remember that cartoon?
Oh yeah, then the one guy had the thing that came over his eyes. Yeah,
it's like a ski mask-ish.
Yeah, it was either that or like a really cheap lucha libre mask. Like it was just.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was a ski mask. It was 100% a ski mask, but it was like not black. It had like these weird colored rainbow stripes, and he takes on a whole different persona when he was in the mask. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because Jasmine doesn't like the mask. She thinks it's scary. I mean, throw that to the list of things Jasmine doesn't like.
But to be fair though, her part of her reason for not liking the mask is like, but you have a cute face. Why are you covering it up? Like,
no, she said something positive. That's nice. Progress.
Yeah. Progress.
So before they get to the show, Jasmine's asking when the parents are moving out because she calls it a group home. I was like, no, it's not exactly a group home.
I get lost in translation a little bit on that one. I know what she means.
Yeah.
It might feel like a group home sometimes.
Right. Definitely, I think the absence is making the heart grow fonder because she does, as much as I said that, she doesn't seem to want to sleep next to him, she does mention that she does want to sleep next to him. And it seems like, she's missing her boo. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she came all the way from Finland for him. So, I mean, there has to be something there that she likes. She's just not really expressive about it.
Yeah. I think the question is, did she come here for him or for her sister?
True. True.
So you got to tell her way in advance when she's getting ready because, she just has so much makeup.
So much makeup, so much prep. And she was still late. He's like, I told her 4 hours earlier. And she's like,
yeah,
I've never applied mascara, but it seems inefficient to put it on one eyelash at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even understand how it would take that long if she was just doing makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand if there's hair in process, but even then, 4 hours seems excessive.
Yeah. I don't know if it was actually 4 hours or if it was he told her 4 hours ago. And I know a lot of people who just always think, this will take 5 minutes. And it was that took you 45 minutes. That was just 5. They're terrible, keeping their own time when they're doing something. It was just 10 minutes. And you're like, no.
They did a really interesting study on that. It was people who are chronically late, and they had them estimate how much a minute would be, how much time would go by for a minute. And they found that people that were chronically late were almost doubled. They thought 1 minute had gone by when really 2 minutes had gone by. So it's just more so the perception of time really affects people being on time or not.
Makes sense.
I think having a good data point, wearing a watch all the time, is also helpful because it's even a scale when you're trying to weigh yourself. If you do it a lot and get a lot of data points, you can start to guess pretty accurately.
Uh-huh.
You know, and same thing. If you're like constantly looking at what time it is, it's not that you necessarily need your watch all the time, but you're, getting better at.
At estimating, oh, that was 5 minutes. That was 2 minutes. That was, yeah.
Yeah. Right. But sorry, off on a tangent. So her face is like a museum because he can't touch
Can't
it.
touch it. I actually thought that was really cute in the car when he kept like moving his hand to her
Yeah.
face and she kept dodging it and like moving it. It was like one of the very few like, playful moments we've seen them have.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But Blake is mad, and I was going to say he says he's mad, but it's like doesn't seem that mad. But they're late, and he blames Jasmine. He feels like, he's the VP, so he should be on time. It's not a good look.
And it wasn't until he knew how late he was, like he knew what time it was. It wasn't until like Rita called him and was like, "Where are you?" that he was like, "Oh shit, now I feel bad and
Yeah.
I'm mad that I'm late."
Right. So Jasmine, add it to the list of things she doesn't like. She doesn't like clubs.
I'm not
Because you
surprised at all.
can't hear. Yeah, it smells like alcohol and sweaty people. All these are fair things, yeah.
They're very fair. They're very fair, and she already has somebody to make out with, so she's not looking for that in the club. Like,
Right.
I mean, if she wanted to, I don't know that she will, but the option is there for her already.
Right, the option is there. So Blake is, I can't remember if it was him or Rita referred to the green room. Like, I think Rita said, like, we're waiting in the
We're in
green
the green
room.
room.
And
Yes,
I was like, that's kind of generous.
Yeah.
It was basically backstage.
backstage.
Yeah, backstage little area.
I feel like I don't know. What does it have to be a green room besides backstage? Does it have to? Have to have?
I
its
would think
own,
an
just its
actual
own door?
room. I would think an actual room. I mean, I get that it doesn't have to be green, but
Right,
an
right,
actual
right.
room would be a start. Yeah.
Well, I looked up the place. I'm not surprised because I looked up the place that they were at. They were at a club called the Mint, and it only holds like 130 people. It's a really small place.
Yeah.
Like really small compared to like I used to go to like an indie rock club when I lived in North Carolina, and that was literally in a strip mall, and the thing next to it was a Blockbuster Video, like and that kind of thing.
Oh,
And that
Blockbuster.
place held 750 people. Like, so it's really small.
Oh. There are a lot of small-ish kind of bar music places in LA. So, I mean, I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, almost like a bar with a stage instead of an actual
Yeah,
like club.
pretty much. I think that's kind of common. Yeah.
That depends on where you are. If it's someplace like at LA where there's an overabundance of people who are willing to play music, then yeah, they'll stage in your bar.
Right. So Jeanette is Jasmine's sister, and even she thinks Jasmine needs to look like she's into it. She's like, come on, you need to at least look like you're into the music.
I mean, but if you're not, you're not. Like, I don't know. She's definitely not. You're gonna know where you sit with Jasmine. She's like not gonna she's not gonna play along for you.
Right, but she kind of does, because then Rita asks her, oh, did you like it? And Jasmine says, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I feel like she would lie to Rita, but then not to Blake. I feel
Right.
like she's gonna tell, no, it's just not my thing. I don't
She
really
just
like
does
your
not.
music.
She does not know how to relate to Rita. Like those two people are not. Jasmine and Rita
No.
are not on the same wavelength. They just are not communicating with each other. Neither knows how the other one works at all.
Can I also make another, say something about Blake's outfit? What
Okay.
the hell was he wearing? He was wearing 3 different prints. He was, first of all, wearing, the classic black and beige Fendi print pants.
Okay.
Then, I don't know, he was wearing some kind of, satin, multicolored shirt. And then a different kind of patterned ski mask. I was like, what is happening here? I don't know. Blake
He's-
has some weird fashion, I think.
Power clashing. He's power clashing.
Yeah, it's just trying too hard. I'm not into it.
We didn't hear much of the music, but I mean, I'm kind of on Team Jasmine of not being really into that music. And it's not like,
That's all right.
and I like rap. It was like, I don't know, it was what you expect to hear at a small club like that. It wasn't like anything that I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's gonna set the world on fire. But it's like, it just was.
So later, Blake is talking with Everett and Joey. Joey's the president, while Blake is the VP of his company, and Everett is one of the artists. And so they're just all in the recording studio, and they all notice that Jasmine was not into it. And so they kind of bring up the fact that Rita, who's Everett's girlfriend, wife, was front and center, and she is like,
She is always
you can
front and
tell,
center.
she is the biggest fan. I have
Right.
mixed feelings about that.
I actually have pretty strong feelings about that. That's okay, but like, it is not a requirement that your
No.
significant other be into your job. Like, that's his job.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to be into it. Like, she really doesn't.
And biggest fan, like, I think there's one, it's like you can be supportive without having to be like front and center supportive, like, I don't know, because then it's almost like groupie style, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, yeah. The way I thought of it was like, I want my partner to be supportive. I want them to be,
Right.
you know, a partner. I don't want them to like adore me. Like, it is too close to
Yeah.
groupie style. Like, that's just weird. I'm not into
Yeah.
that. But they clearly are all like, that's the way the relationship is supposed to be. This is supposed to. It really did see groupie. That's the word that I keep coming
Yeah.
up with. They want, she should be a groupie, right? Like, she should be as into you as anybody on that dance floor. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason why I have very strong feelings is because I actually dated someone for about 5 years who was in a band. And so I have done all of this before, like having to go to all the small shows, like in random bars and even in LA, you know, I did all of that. And, you know, I went to all the shows that I could go to. I was not front and center, but I was there. You know, I didn't need, I don't know. I feel like there's like not a need to have to be front and center because I don't know. Also, I think people kind of question like your motives. Like people used to ask me, "Oh, are you like so into his music?" I was like, I don't know if he's that good or not. I have no idea. I'm into him. I'm not into him because he's in a band, you know?
Yeah.
I'm into him in spite of the fact that he's in a band.
Right.
It's more of a hindrance to our relationship.
If you apply that logic to any other job, it makes like no sense at all.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, do you always show up at the fires to root him along? Your boyfriend's a fireman. You should be front and center when he's fighting the fires. Be like, what? Do
Yeah,
you?
cheering him on. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you're so good at your job.
Right. That doesn't work for literally any other job.
Yeah, you're right. That's weird. So, yeah, Everett doesn't like Jasmine.
No.
Yeah, he's, you know, and I don't think it's because he doesn't like her so much as he gets the feeling she doesn't like them and she's not making an effort and he feels like he's trying and she's not, and he doesn't want to be nice anymore. He's losing patience.
I mean, what not nice? And eventually you just be like, hey, I think we're going to stop inviting Jasmine and stuff because she's not into it, right? Like that's all the meaner you have to be. It's not like nasty. You don't have to be crazy.
He doesn't come off as like a mean person anyway. So I you know, his not nice might be, you know, surface level,
Right.
not nice.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I didn't quite get what he was like. My patience is wearing thin of her
Yeah.
not doing anything. Like at some point, did you just start ignoring her and just letting it go with that? But the important thing is he doesn't even know how to spell her name. Is it a Z or an S?
Oh, right. But if they were friends, he would know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, again, so if that was the thing, and that's the thing he wants to know, the only way I could think that you would know that is to straight up ask her, right?
Right. Or be friends with her on Facebook, I guess.
I guess, but you would have to ask her. You'd have to be like, oh, it's Jasmine. Is that with a J? Or I'm looking you up on Facebook. Is that a J? Is it a Z or an S? Like, you still ask directly.
Yeah, I have no idea. All right. Can we talk Anna and Marcel? I just want to get them out of the way. It was just, there was
So
no
bad.
progress. It was just so awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same thing last time of this high school. Our parents
Yeah.
are making us break up. I mean, literally, it was our parents are making us break up. Then we're just gonna sit here and cry about it because we don't want to end, but it is ending, and there's nothing else to say. And so we're just gonna sit here and cry next to each other for the entire time.
I know. And it's like, we don't want to watch this shit.
No,
Like, I don't want to see a grown man cry into a couch cushion. Like, I don't want to see that.
right?
And him making these sobbing sounds.
Yeah, especially with like you're crying into a couch cushion because you're too big of a wuss to say no to your mom. Like, that's what it is.
Oh my gosh, yes. He chooses his mom.
I choose
He
my
said
mom.
that.
He said that out. And then she keeps doing that annoying thing where she speaks like caveman talk to him. She's like, no, love gone.
This over.
This over.
Yes, me finally. It's like, oh my gosh. So I think Anna is very, like, in her mind, she's the kind of person who watches a lot of romantic comedies, I feel like, and has this very, like, over the top, like, just idea of romance and this almost like fantasy world romance, which is why I feel like she's hanging on to Marcel so much, is because, you know, this is definitely a unique way to meet someone. And in her mind, she probably is like, yes, this guy is my soulmate, because how else would I ever meet someone like on a beekeeping group? Like, how would that ever happen?
Right.
Like, we were meant to be.
It's serendipity. It's a meet cute. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then this is like a Romeo and Juliet part of the situation where it's just like parents trying to keep them apart. And, you know, like they just are so in love with each other. And so I feel like it's not turning out like, well, it's definitely not turning out like Romeo and Juliet for the better.
Let's hope it doesn't end like Romeo
I
and
know.
Juliet.
Yeah, God. All right. Yeah, let's skip that part. But I think, like, she's just waiting for her happy ending, and it's not happening. So she keeps on, like, dragging this out, like, hoping that he'll somehow, like, at the last minute, turn around at the airport, run back to her, like, no, I choose you.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like she keeps on trying to give him those opportunities.
Yes, that's exactly what she's doing. And I don't know why he is sticking around. Well, he's sticking around just because he wants to be with her as long as possible. But
Right.
you know, until he actually leaves. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. She keeps like, well, if I give him, let me give him one more chance to like turn his back on his mom. Let me give him one more chance again. Let me give him one more chance again.
Yes.
Yeah, he keeps like getting close to doing it and then not.
I'm confused what he really wants, because he keeps on saying, like, please, Anna, what? What does he want from her? He shouldn't want anything from her. Please, Anna.
Yeah.
He sees the visit as a chance. It's like, chance for what? I'm confused what he's, like, implying that he wants from her at this point.
I don't know either. And like, I also feel like even if he changes his mind like she wants him to, even if he does a grand gesture at the airport and runs away from the gate, comes back, he already blew it, man. Like, it's kind of like too little too late at that point. Like, it's kind of done. And now you show me that, like, I don't know, you're going to drag your feet. Is this going to happen again next time there's something else? And we have to deal with this whole thing again where I have to convince you to change your mind instead of just choosing me or choosing what, you know, you want. And he's done. I would be done.
Yeah.
Well, I would never gotten into this relationship, but you know.
Yeah, that's true. But I was going to say that, kind of going along with what you're saying, like, she would probably think, you know, oh, my family's now against him because of all he's done to me. Oh,
Yeah.
that definitely falls in line with the whole Romeo and Juliet. Our families are trying to keep us
yeah.
apart, but we're really in love.
Our
so,
true love.
You know.
Which she didn't even say, and she says repeat it. It's just like, I don't know why you're going, or I don't want you to go. She said repeatedly, I want you to leave. I want to punch you. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, she clearly didn't mean any of those things. And that, I can't.
No, she's just trying to get a reaction out of him.
Yeah.
And then she says at one point, and this is where I was just like, you're an idiot. She was like, I can't believe it's happening. It's like, really? What in this entire season has made it seem like this is not the end result?
Right.
I don't even understand how you're so shocked by this. I mean, she definitely pushed him to tell his parents.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to, you know, if she had kept her mouth shut, if she had not let her friends influence her in any way after her bachelorette party, they could arguably still be together at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, aren't they, though? Didn't we hear that?
Yes. So that is my only kind of slight curiosity of their storyline at this point. How do you recover from this?
Right.
Because she brought up that once he leaves, he can't come back.
Right.
So if he really got on that plane, like, how could he come back unless for some bizarre reason he had a layover in the U.S. and then changed his mind there?
And changed his mind there. Right. Yeah. I don't know, because that was all the rumors was that they actually got married.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's not that I don't believe. I actually believed the rumors because they were saying that they saw a marriage certificate. But at the same time, it's like, How do you go from here when you left the country? Well, supposing that he left the country.
He went past security at the airport, is what we know.
Yes. Yeah, but he could have run back. Who knows? And I mean, they didn't tease it at all. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. Well, he did. He ran back like right before security and faked her out and ran back and just gave her a hug and left again.
Yep.
Like, what the hell was that? That's the worst airport
Gosh, I know.
run back ever. Like, sorry, I forgot my stuff. I'm leaving again. Ugh.
Yeah. He says he's scared to go back home.
I don't know what he's scared of, because at some point he mentioned something he had to go back because like he's their only son, and it was like, so if you had a brother, you would blow off your family. I don't understand, because if it's that much of a deal and your parents are going to rely on you that much to that extent that you were responsible for them, they'll get over the kids. Like
Yeah, and I kind of feel like if it was that important, why'd they even let him go in the first place? So they really, really needed him there. They are so depressing right now.
Yeah, it was just sad. All right, well let's bounce the other way. We went sad. Let's go with the one that may be the happiest. Sadly, and
Was it Michael and Juliana?
Michael and Juliana, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Juliana riding her bike is everything. I was like, I love everything about this situation.
She had the big long skirt like she was the Wicked Witch of the West, just riding along down. It was
right,
great.
and she was safety first. She had her helmet. On.
Sitting up, it was great.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And she says, and I think part of the reason why you like it so much is because you can tell she is just so much happiness riding her bike because she feels free. That's what she says.
Yeah, which is true. It depends on where you are. Some places, like, a bike doesn't get you much, right?
Yeah.
Other places, it really depends on where you are. And I know that's something that, I don't know, kind of a side note, that's something that LeBron James has always done. That's always been his like charity thing of choice, is giving away bikes. Because when he was like, when I was a kid in Akron, Ohio, like, when I had my bike, I was free. Like, when I had my bike, I could go anywhere and do anything. And so, like, that was like a huge deal in my life. So that's what he does. He gives away bikes like all the time.
That's funny. Because I think they mentioned that particularly on the radio show that I always listen to, and they were trying to crap on it, and they were like, yeah, but he doesn't buy them helmets. So at least Juliana has a helmet. Yeah. And she lives within biking distance to Sarah's house. So Sarah, the ex-wife, yep. So she can just pop over and drop off things like Cece's cheerleading bag when they forget it. And then Sarah invites her to have some coffee and they hang out. Mm-hmm. So Juliana says a lot of things.
She says a lot of things.
Yeah, she says a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things about herself. And I'm just like, I love this lady. This little lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's what, 21? She's
23, I think.
23. She's lived a 23 years. She's lived a lot in those years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So she gives us a little bit of background about the ex-husband because, before when she mentioned her ex-husband, she didn't say a whole lot. She pretty much just said, that once they got married, he complained about the lunch. She got married when she was 17. She was pressured because of religious stuff. And so she definitely filled in the blanks with a lot of this.
Yes. Yeah.
So apparently she was involved in some kind of cult, she believes. I mean, she now describes it as a cult.
Yeah, before she mentioned it was a church. It was from the church. And now she was like, it was the church. It was more like, how do you say it? A cult? Like, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Which kind of preyed on her because she had come back from her teenage modeling gig in Sao Paulo when she was like 15. And they kind of rejected her and she came back and like kind of fell into this church. It was like, oh man, already there's two things that people don't want to go through.
Right. So she met her husband at the church. He was pretty much twice her age because she was 17 and he was 34. And so after 4 months, they were married. And she said he instantly changed. But the pastor didn't believe her. So she tried to confide in him, try to do like some kind of counseling. And, no one seemed to believe her. So she was just stuck with this guy. And then she just kind of pieced out at some point, was like, no, I can't deal with this. So she went back to Sao Paulo, tried to be a model again, and just filed divorce papers while she was there.
Yeah, she was like, it even signed the divorce papers, which was like all of a sudden going to be like a red flag thing. She's like, I didn't even sign the divorce papers. I just left.
Yeah.
It was like, uh-oh, did you say you didn't sign the... I mean, later she did go back and sign the divorce papers, like
Yeah.
after she had established herself and got herself some money modeling, and was at least, on her own 2 feet enough that she felt comfortable going back to her hometown and signing those papers. So it was like, you can't get the visa if you haven't signed your divorce papers from your other marriage. Jeez.
Yeah. Yep, that's important. I think the fact that Sarah is a mom made her very empathetic towards Juliana because I feel like she can't even imagine that happening to her kids.
Right.
Leaving home so young, being married at 17. So Sarah is just like, low-key crying.
Right.
Because she just feels so bad for what Juliana's gone through. And to be honest, I was kind of crying too. I was just like, oh my God, Juliana, that sounds so awful.
Much. Yeah, so much. Like, because she said he changed. It was mentally abuse. I mean, he was mentally abusing her.
Yeah.
When she left. So it was like, that's a lot to go through before you're 20.
20, period. No, don't forget 20 something, like 20.
Oh yeah,
period.
that all happened before she was 20.
Yeah.
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 So and it really did seem like Sarah kind of got a new, appreciation or understanding from where Juliana was coming from.
Yeah. Sarah says again that she acknowledges that it's not a competition, that taking away from someone doesn't necessarily give to someone else. And I think that's just such a healthy, and I've said this before, like such a healthy look to, what your ex has or doesn't have in terms of a relationship.
At the time this is going on, Sarah was also like engaged to somebody and also getting married too. So it's a lot easier to be, that magnanimous when, it's not like there isn't really much jealousy because you have your own thing going on.
Right. I did actually look to see if she was wearing some kind of engagement ring, and I didn't see anything. So I don't know if she was, trying to play up the whole I'm single angle, and that's why she wasn't wearing it. But I definitely paid attention. She was not wearing a ring.
Interesting.
So then they start talking about finances, and Sarah says that when they were together, that Sarah pretty much just handed her paycheck over to Michael.
And let him handle all the finances. Which is usually the way it works in especially when people get married younger. When you get married young and you don't have individual money before you get married, you tend to just do the shared pot thing, where everybody's money goes in one bank account, and then there usually ends up being one partner that's in charge of the bank account. And so it kind of feels like that, like, oh, did you just give him her check? But usually it's the other way around. Usually it's the wife that controls the money.
Interesting. I don't know if that's I don't know. I think even when I was younger, and granted, I've never been married, so I've never really put this to the test or not. But when I was younger, I always thought I would have my account, you would have your account, and then we'd have a joint account that we paid for shared things. Like if we were both going out to dinner, or we both were going on vacation, or we had to pay rent or mortgage. I don't know. I'd always envisioned I still have my stuff. You buy your toys with your stuff, not with our money.
It definitely has to do with when you got together. And it seems like Michael and Sarah got together when there was no, I didn't have my stuff. She didn't have her stuff. It was all just everything was our stuff. So it didn't make any sense to, or, it seemed natural to not divvy it up and divide. But it does, walk a fine line between being somebody is kind of the curator of the shared finances versus, at least it sounds like what Sarah at least ended up seeing it as, of being no, he was giving me an allowance. He was the holder of the purse strings, and he was in charge of everything, and he controlled her with the money, which is a bit different.
And it made her feel like there was some kind of imbalance in power. And so this was the reason why Sarah brought it up to Juliana, is because she was kind of warning her, you're modeling money, don't just hand over your paycheck to Michael. So she was trying to give her some good advice based on experience.
Right.
So Juliana has already said that she's pushed back on house chores, because it sounds like Michael doesn't want to do any house chores, which I believe. Did you see the state of his apartment at the beginning of the season?
Exactly.
It was.
I thought the funniest story she told was the one on Mother's Day where you don't have to do the laundry today. It was but it would still be not done. He wouldn't do it. He just
So said she didn't have to do it. It's like, thanks for approving my day off.
Yeah, thanks for controlling what I get to do on my day off. That's awesome. That's great. Leave me the chores for later. Fantastic.
So Juliana takes Sarah to go to the seamstress because Juliana has already purchased a wedding dress in Brazil, and she's really just getting it fitted. But when she put it on, I was like, it looks like it fits already.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't either. It looked fine.
I think it was just an excuse.
Yeah, excuse to put it on. I guess you can do it and say, is it good? Does it need to be? I guess you could do that at home. But yeah, they wanted the scene. They wanted the scene in the shop.
So she's scared that Michael will change after the wedding because that's what happened with her ex-husband. So she kind of is a little anxious about that. And I think also this kind of plays into, her past experience with Michael. When he broke up with her, all of a sudden he just like shifted.
Right.
Right. And so the fact that someone could switch personalities on a dime like that is probably, I don't know, she's probably triggered. Like this seems familiar. Someone flipped on a dime for like over one thing.
Right. And he didn't seem like he became like the other guy, like abusive, but he seemed like he was
no,
almost like ghosting her. Like he just turned into like an absent.
Yeah.
Just gone.
Yeah. But but I mean, I'm sure the trust isn't there because this isn't the person you thought he was. All right. Who do you want to talk about next?
Let's go tonight. Tanya and Sinjin. Keep doing it.
Oh, gosh. It's
Tanya
okay.
and
I think
Sinjin.
a lot of people do that. Yeah.
That's all right. I feel like that's the one name I'm allowed to mess up and nobody will give me a hard time about it. Be like, yeah, that's right. Mess up her name. Fine.
Yeah. I think it's because she is not helping her case, even in this episode. She is not.
No.
I just want to start off by saying the fucking pink shirt is back.
Oh my God.
We were on a break with the pink shirt for a couple episodes because she was in Costa Rica, but as soon as she gets back, oh God, that stupid pink shirt. My God.
Goddamn. Well, maybe she thinks if she keeps wearing the pink shirt, she'll get her pit stink all in it, and that's what really matters, because the first thing she does when she sees
gross.
Sinjin is smell his armpits. And like,
A lot.
You stink, and then goes back in for more. Like, oh my God.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, she is obsessed with his armpits. Remember, she likes to play with his
hair?
armpit hair.
Oh, man. She should just shave that hair. If she's going to twirl your armpit hair, just get rid of it. Like, that's no longer an option.
I don't know. Maybe Sinjin's secretly a freak, too, and that's why he's like, gotta stick with Tanya because I have never met someone who's into my armpits as much as she is. Maybe it does something for him. I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah, so Sinjin's feeling stressed because he's going to go pick her up in New York, and he recognizes that nothing's been resolved, so he's now been getting anxious about their future. Let me just say, to contrast with Tanya's pickup of Sinjin versus Sinjin's pickup of Tanya, Sinjin is on time and doesn't litter anywhere.
Yes.
It's like, Tanya, take notes. This is how it should happen.
He does jump a barrier, but
He does.
Doesn't like litter and then yell at the janitor for trying to pick it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't have multiple people squealing at him.
Oh gosh, yes, in his ear. Oh gosh.
Right.
Yeah. So then she's talking about why she loves him, and this is the reason, or one of the reasons. She says it's because he, and I'm definitely paraphrasing here, but basically she says that he baby birds her apples.
That was also weird.
Yes, I'm saying both of them are into weird things. She doesn't like eating apples or biting into apples, so he will bite it for her and then give it to her.
So I want to introduce Tanya to a brand new crazy invention. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a fucking knife.
A knife?
And you can cut your apples and then eat them. You don't have to have someone baby bird your apple into your mouth. Just, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
But she also says then she appreciates that she can be a little extra, which is an understatement of the century.
Some self-awareness, the tiniest bit. It's like, if she understands she's a little extra, why don't we work on that? That should be like an area of growth for you.
An area of growth. But that's not the mistake that she thinks she makes. We'll get to the biggest mistake she thinks she makes.
Oh my gosh. So Sinjin worries that, are they going to have the compassion and tools and patience to make it last? Okay. So the spoiler is that they're married, although I would still claim it's unconfirmed because like how people are saying they're married is not a marriage certificate. Until I see a marriage certificate, I'm skeptical.
Okay.
So how, assuming that they're married right now, Mr. O, how long, prediction wise, will get you for longevity in audio, do you think that their marriage is going to last? Put a time frame on it.
Oh, see, here's the problem. Their like relationship will not last very long, like 2 years tops. However,
Okay.
they're both too lazy to actually get off their asses and actually do the divorce.
Right. Okay, I see. So, yes, that's a good question. So, when do you think separation versus divorce? So, when do you think that they'll just say, okay, we're separated now? Like, we're not a couple, but divorce might not be happening for another couple years until one of them, and you know how it is, until one of them actually wants to be married to someone else, they'll
Yes.
probably still be married.
Yes, exactly.
Then they're motivated. Okay, so if that's what we're dealing with, when do you, how long until they're separated? They're no longer a couple.
2 years.
So I give them 3 years. I think in 2 years, she's going to give him the ultimatum, like, we need to
Babies
have
or
a
get
kid
off.
now.
Right.
Yeah. And then it'll take about a year for her to follow through on the ultimatum. So my guess is 3 years.
Okay.
We'll see. We have it recorded now,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see in 2 to 3 years if what we say is coming true.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Or if they separate before then we'll know.
We'll know
both
sooner.
wrong, at
We'll
least.
know at latest
Yeah.
2 to 3 years from now. Right.
Yeah. Okay, who is this Tanya? I'm so confused. There are 2 versions of Tanya. There is crazy commitment, like I want babies, I want to be married, I want a stable life, Tanya, who needs Sinjin to get on board with all of those.
Right.
And then you've got Costa Rica Tanya, who's like, I do what I want. I'll check in when I want. You need to be independent. Why are you being so needy? Like, I just want to do whatever. I am confused
Shut up
why these
and
2
write me
Tanyas
checks.
exist. Oh my god.
Especially like, they got into a fight about Sinjin not getting off his ass and getting a job, even though he can't get a job. Right.
Yeah.
And so she was like, you should have taken a woodworking class. And he's like, with what money? You spent it all going to Costa Rica. And she was like, I was learning real things in Costa Rica, which everything we saw in Costa Rica was not that. It was a vacation. She's like, I'm learning real things about fake herbal remedies. It's going to launch my career. It's like, okay. All right,
Oh my
sure.
gosh. Yep. This is the reason why they had to join Tom's MLM. You know, it's like, if you're desperate for money, it's like, okay, well, this can't hurt.
I blame Tom for a lot, but watching the beginning of these shows and being like, them, I'm going to target them for my MLM. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like that's fair because it's like, isn't it supposed to be some magical coffee or something like that? Coffee that's like proven to help your health. So that's right up Tanya's alley.
It's proven because it says it right on the label. That's all the proof you need.
Yeah,
It's organic.
exactly.
There's crystals in it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's grown next
Healing
to crystals.
crystals?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So I feel bad for Sinjin a little bit. So we find out that he's worked in the mines. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I can't even identify anyone who's ever worked in the mines. From 18 to 25. It reminds me of Zoolander. It's like, I got the black lung, Pop. But he said he's had friends who's died down there. And she pretty much tells him to get over it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, Tanya. Let's go back to the compassion piece that you need for your relationship.
Yeah. She's like, that was 3 years ago. Shut up. Stop. You don't get to complain about that forever. In the mines, though, because it was like that wasn't like like I've been to mines in Australia, and like it wasn't like a strip mine. It wasn't like a quarry type mine where they just like dig out the whole mountain. It was definitely one of those take your canary and your lunch pail and go down the elevator and mines
And hope your canary doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their fight just gets so brutal. They're kind of going back and forth about, like what he could be doing differently, how he needs to get a career. And it's very much like one-sided. It's like Tanya attacking Sinjin and Sinjin trying to basically defend himself is the
Yes.
whole argument. In no way does he ever turn things around on her. He doesn't, question anything about what she did in Costa Rica, like in terms
Correct.
of, their relationship.
Or in terms of how serious of an opportunity that actually was. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
Everybody who watches the show is like, what is this stupid summer camp she went to in Costa Rica? And why is she pretending it's a
Yeah.
great career opportunity? And he does not say that. He doesn't do that at all. But
No, he doesn't question her at all.
the problem is that Tanya has just been too lenient. She's just been too lenient with St. John.
Oh, gosh.
That would have made me lose it. Good for him. Because, I mean, she just started screaming nonsense. And then he kind of did the calm down thing, which, of course, every time you tell somebody who's being, unreasonably
Oh,
screaming,
yeah.
telling them to calm down, like,
No,
never
you
helps.
can't.
Never helps.
Nope. You can't call a crazy person crazy either. That's also not,
No.
something you're supposed to do. So I loved when he said this. Sinjin says she has a problem with society and she never feels heard. I was like, oh my God, he has got her number. He knows exactly
Right.
who she is. I was like, yeah, that's actually really insightful.
She was like, you're just not listening to me. You're not hearing me. He was like, no, you feel like you're not heard even when you've been heard.
Yeah.
Like, unless she's been, like, she just will not accept, I heard you, I disagree, you're wrong, and we're doing something else.
Yeah.
Like, she considers that to be, I wasn't heard.
So I was shocked. So after he kind of says that, she, not immediately after, but apologizes. And then kind of explains like where she's coming from. She said that she's scared and anxious about the future. And I was like, whoa, you admitted fault? I feel like maybe there's a third Tanya. Which Tanya is this one?
Right.
She says she wants to judge him based on his work ethic. I was like, but just 90 days isn't enough time. That whole thing. How could she judge him based on his work ethic if it's only 90
it's
days
only
and he's
90
not even going
days.
to be allowed to be working?
Right. Whatever.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So that was them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go with let's go with Mike and Natalie. Because that was another sad one. That one was weird. I'll be honest with this one. I don't understand this fight that they're having. I don't understand why it's a fight. I don't understand why either of them is saying what they're saying. I just don't understand what's going on. More so from Natalie's side, I don't understand what Natalie thinks or wants. Other than that, I understand why Mike is so upset. That makes more sense to me.
Okay. So, all right. So I was going to say, I think I have an understanding, and it helps that a few seasons ago we had a couple on, Matt and Alla. And Alla was from the Ukraine as well. And she was pretty much definitely the Natalie in this situation, where there was a whole storyline on the whole thing where she would not tell him that she loved him. And I think like my takeaway from just seeing these two is that maybe it's just one of those things that are not freely expressed as much in the Ukraine, that it's maybe that culture, it's maybe something that, when you say it, you have to really mean it. And I understand where Mike's coming from, because he's like, but you've said it before.
Right.
But maybe she's having second thoughts. And I think that's fair. I don't know. So I'm not necessarily Team Natalie or Team Mike on this one, but I just feel like I can see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like where Mike was going either, because they just didn't talk it all the way through. But yeah, the idea of it, you've said it before, and you're not saying it now. So you're telling me now that we had one fight, and that made you not love me anymore, or
Yeah.
you were lying to me every other time you told to. And either of those, both of those
Right.
are like, that's kind of a deal breaker. Like, either one is not good, not a good omen for the relationship.
Yeah. So let's give some background into what's happening. So Mike and Natalie are very clearly in an interview with the producer. And then the producer says, Natalie, do you still love Mike? Which seems like a simple enough question, but I also feel like they knew they were going to get that kind of answer, because that's also a weird question, right?
Right.
So she just, kind of awkwardly looks at each other, and she says that she's in a good place with Mike, but I mean, she was kind of shaking her head yes a little bit, when they asked, like very slightly, like little slight nods up and down. And then she says, we're in a good place. She thinks he has potential. And then you just see Mike, and he's like wounded puppy. He just looks so sad hearing her answer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just, I just made, I wrote down in my notes, you know that grimace face emoji where you're just like, I just made that.
Yeah.
I just made that face for like,
with the teeth.
yeah, for like 5 minutes with the straight teeth, just the straight line of the teeth. I was like, I just made that face for like a good 5 minutes because it kind of went back and forth. And
It
she
was
like,
really
"What?"
awkward.
It was super awkward. And like you kind of knew something was coming because the way they introduced the interview wasn't like, cutaway interview. It's like they showed them clipping up their mics. Whenever they show anybody clipping their mic on, something's going to go down. Like we know something's going down.
Yeah,
When we
right?
watch the person clipping their mic on before the interview, it's like, uh-oh, this is going to be a big one.
Well, she started off looking annoyed when that whole thing was going on. And yeah, she was just like the looks they were giving each other. And they were just all looks. There was no conversation, no
Yeah.
little cutesy banter. Yeah, it was just all looks. It was, weird. I kind of wondered a little bit if there were some editing tricks happening because they kept on changing the perspective, which I thought was really weird. But the audio I think is consistent because they at the end of it they just kind of like re-summarized, and that I could tell wasn't like edited. So yeah, it was weird though.
Yeah. That's a fucking wrap for me. Someone walks
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, right? Okay, so that's what Mike says.
Can we end all our interviews like that? I want to. I just want from
I
here on
know,
out,
right?
every single interview.
Okay, that'll be your sign off, sure. She says that she has feelings that will grow to love. She's okay with not being sure. And then, oh, come on, don't blame women. She's like,
Yeah,
women,
yeah.
it's a woman thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was
oh,
bullshit.
shush.
Well, I guess the other part of this too that was bothering me is like if you go back, rewind earlier in the season when he first got there, and she was like, "Put a baby in me now," like, and now she's like, "I think I have feelings that might grow to love."
Yes, shouldn't you have thought that before? Right.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to lie to him and say she loves him. So that's the reason why she won't say it. So I don't know. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
So then mom comes in, and actually I shouldn't say mom comes in because they show Mike leaving because the interview is, happened right before Mike was supposed to leave for the airport. And so you see mom, and it looks like she's going to go to church. So Natalie basically says, no, you can go rest. You don't need to be here.
Uh-huh. Well, mom is upstairs. I don't even remember there being an upstairs before. It was so confusing.
Yeah, it's like a lofted area,
Yeah.
it looks like. So then, I don't even remember how this instigated. Maybe you can fill in the blanks. She basically just like says, oh, I don't need this ring anymore, and just like throws it in his suitcase. And I felt like she just wanted a reaction, but he doesn't react at all.
Right. Well, he does, but it's a slow burn, delayed reaction.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't give the "what the hell? Oh my god!" Yeah, he doesn't give her the dramatic reaction that she's looking for. But like,
He does the, okay, fine.
yeah, I don't know. And at that point, they both just got really annoying. They both became the really annoying person too.
Yeah.
She kept trying to poke him, and he kept trying to just be, no, I'm going to be the reasonable one here. And I don't know what you're doing. And I don't know. I just
Right.
couldn't get in. This is the point where I couldn't get in either one of their heads. And so everything both of them did just seemed like so unnatural and foreign to me.
Because I was going to say, he brings up religion, and he was like, oh, you don't want to be with me. And I was like, where did that come from?
Right.
He was like, yeah, that's what you've been fighting about, but I don't think she said anything about that recently. And then he throws the unicorn at her. Yeah. I was like, oh, this poor unicorn.
Poor unicorn. Oh,
Pretty much he's saying that she's not a unicorn anymore. Because wasn't that the whole thing behind the unicorn?
I suppose.
He was saying that he found his.
oh,
Yeah. So,
that means something different. Other places.
oh, I don't know what you're talking about, so we'll move on.
No.
Do
No,
we need to know?
No. In slang terms, a unicorn is a single female that's willing to like get sexually involved with a couple. Like,
Oh, right. Now that you say that, that makes sense. I feel like I've seen that on Tinder,
Okay.
which is concerning.
Now you're like,
But now
wait
it
a
all
second.
makes sense.
You were looking for what?
Yes, that. Oh,
Oh.
God, that's very
That
concerning.
was not an innocent
Yes,
thing.
it
You're
does
creepy.
make sense.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at all these teachable moments. Oh, that's concerning. All right, so Mama says goodbye to Michael. Kind of. They don't know how to communicate to one another. They just know they really like each other.
Yeah.
Mama keeps talking to him, and it's like, he does not understand a word you're saying.
No, but she has really unearned confidence. Like here of it, like there's no evidence, and she's
Yeah.
like, everything's gonna be fine. It's like, is it though? Because he's like leaving in a huff,
Yeah.
and she threw back the ring, and like it's not looking like everything's gonna be fine.
Right. So Natalie tells Mike to apologize because he was overreacting in the interview and acting moody. She says to apologize. She doesn't exactly say for what. I think she does mention at some point he was overreacting.
Mm-hmm.
But when she first said that, I was kind of like, apologize for what? I feel like you guys were both equally right and
Yeah.
equally wrong. I don't
Yeah.
really know what he's supposed to apologize for.
Well, at some point she told him to stop with this farce. Like she was like, it was almost like she was
Yes.
thinking that his anger was just like a act he was putting on. He's like, stop, come on, like chill
Yeah.
out. I guess that's what it was. It almost feel like he was doing the relationship equivalent of like a soccer player like flopping, and like grabbing his leg and be like, oh, it's hurts
Yeah.
oh so much. She's like, come on, man, chill out.
They're the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah. So she doesn't go to the airport with him. I think they're both at this point very stubborn. And I think that they're both also expecting the other to go after them.
right. Yeah. Yeah, they kind of lingered on the camera and
Definitely
like
getting that
zoomed out with a wide angle to be like, is Natalie going to come to the car?
Yeah.
Is she going to come to the car? And she did not come to the car.
Or is Mike going to run back to the apartment? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's not looking good for them.
No.
Speaking of not looking good, we got Michael and Angela last.
Yep.
But he misses her crazy ass.
Yep. Misses her so much that he runs the risk of bringing her some cake because
Because he could get it in the face.
yeah, last time he got brought cake, it went right in his face.
Yeah, but instead, he successfully swindled Angela
That's right,
with cake.
successfully. Now, okay,
Yep.
did Angela get Botox on her boobs? Because she made it sound like she got Botox on her boobs.
Okay, that would actually make some sense. Okay, because I was going to say, well, first of all, we are drawn to her boobs because once again, she's toting shit in her tits.
Right.
So, but if you look at, like, they call that the décolletage, it looked really bruised. I was like, what is going on with her chest? It looked like purple.
And she said track marks and like kind
Yeah.
of looked down at her chest when she talked about the Botox. It's like, I mean, they're pretty wrinkly. I see why she would want to, but I didn't know that was
okay,
a thing.
and then once again, we were talking about this. Like, Botox is preventative. It cannot help your current situation. And I don't see what having Botox in your chest is going to do. Your chest isn't making facial expressions, because that's like the whole thing of
Oh.
Botox. It's supposed to freeze your face so you don't make wrinkling. You don't make your face wrinkle up, and so it doesn't like set that way. That's the idea behind it. So it's like, but your chest in general is not making expressions that are going to wrinkle themselves up. So I don't really understand why you had Botox there.
And if you wanted to, not show off wrinkles on the top of your chest, you could just like,
Not show it.
wear a different neckline. Yeah, not have your-
Turtlenecks. Turtlenecks are in your future, Angela. They should be.
Oh,
at
do you
least.
imagine like a black, like Steve Jobs turtleneck?
Yeah. Fillers, I guess, but even then, I don't really understand. Like, I don't know how fillers are gonna help
I don't know.
your situation specifically. But yeah, I did notice her chest looked really bruised, and I was so confused. Then they make things worse for us because they have like clearly like a dash cam situation
Right.
in Michael's car. And what was with the weird perspective? It made her boobs look gigantic.
It was like fisheye or something, and her boobs just went right to the part that just like came out and like grabbed you. It's like watching a 3D movie. Like I was like dodging them. Like
Yeah, and then her head was teeny tiny. Yeah, her head looked like a dot compared to her boobs. I was like, what is happening right now? Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who paid attention to that or noticed that.
Yeah, but that was when they were on her way so she could lay in bed with her sexy Nigerian, which I think
Oh,
I blacked
goodness.
out for a few minutes after that because
You're like, no thanks, I don't want to picture that.
I don't want to picture any of that. Yeah. But we get to later too, so that's fun.
Right, but the car ride is mostly Angela, like, criticizing what Michael said, even though she wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
All the things that Michael should have said.
There was no way he was gonna recount what happened in that meeting and not have her be like, find something wrong with it. There was 100% chance she
Yeah.
was going to find something wrong with it.
Well, didn't he also say the interview was like, oh, no, he said he waited for 3 to 4 hours. I don't remember how long the interview actually was.
Mhm.
But Angela says that Michael should have mentioned the engagement party. And then Michael's like, well, they saw my ring and they saw my Facebook. Like,
And it was on the documents. Like, we've been engaged. Like, what does the party have to do with it?
Right.
She's like, it would say that your mom accepted it. And I was like, I don't think they care if his mom accepts it. Like, that's not part of the thing. I honestly think, and having watched, there was a YouTube video going around this week. We will link it in the show notes that had a lawyer like explaining the ins and outs of the K-1 visa using 90 Day Fiance as like a jumping off point. And like,
yeah.
based on that video alone, it seems like the financial thing is already the biggest deal. Can she financially support him?
Yeah.
The biggest issue.
Right. And then to that end, she might have like whatever the threshold is for like the amount that they say is like the minimum requirement. But at the same time, she's got like how many dependents living with
Exactly.
her? So that in itself, I feel like is going to make it, even though she has enough money for the visa, she has the proof of income. It's like,
Especially because he hasn't had a job in how long?
right.
So he even when whatever time is up, can he get a job? Yeah.
Uber driver. But Angela probably wouldn't let him do that. I mean, immigration doesn't need to know that. But I feel like Angela probably wouldn't let him do that because isn't that how he ended up with the BJ for real?
Oh yeah, that's right. Was it an Uber job? Was that an Uber
It was
thing?
because he was offering. I don't think it was Uber. I think he was giving someone a ride, and that was the payment.
Yes, right. He did it for real.
Well, yeah, he did the BJ for real.
Uh-huh.
Oh goodness. So yes, and then you're talking about when they get to the hotel. So Michael is classy guy. He gives her a very sentimental gift of a photo clock, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty cool. Angela, being the, I don't want to say trashy person she is, but I mean, I didn't have to say it. Michael's friends say it, right? Buys him a bunch of sex toys, like thongs and what appear to be candy panties.
I don't know. I thought it was both just like male lingerie, like, low cut, crotchless, boxer things. I don't really want to see Michael in that, as much as we talked about not wanting to see Angela.
No.
I don't need to see Michael either. I'm cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It was bad enough we saw him in that American flag.
Right, and his shirt was still on for
boxers
that.
he had. Nah. So Michael wants her to try more local food. So they go to breakfast. And I'm like, okay, Michael, come on. First of all, Angela is like a stubborn lady. And then wasn't that snail situation enough? So I don't know. Did you ever go back and see their first season,
No, not yet.
Mr. O?
No.
Okay, so in the first season, she's at a family, I think it's when she first meets his mama, and she eats snail, and she is not into it at all. So it's in her mouth, and she goes, quick, Michael, kiss me. And she transfers said snail from her mouth to his mouth.
That's
Another
grosser than
baby
just
bird
swallowing
situation.
It. Just swallow it.
Oh, so disgusting. So poor Michael has this half chewed, been in Angela's mouth, snail in his mouth. And I'm like, I would have just been like, it's over right now. Nothing is worth this. So he wants her to try more local food. I'm like, let's think about the last time she tried local food. Maybe
Right.
this is not in your best interest.
And I feel like so I was going sleuth on this. I went back and watched it a couple times. Because I feel like he was trying to be cool. Like, he was trying to be like, I want you to eat local food. I want to show you not all local food is crazy. So he had ordered for her, it looked like normal stuff. Like, there was a Scotch egg. She'd like a Scotch egg.
Yeah.
Like, come on, right?
Yeah.
Like a Scotch egg and, like, some other, it looked like vegetarian stuff, honestly. Like potatoes or plantains
Yeah.
or something, right? it all looked like stuff that was like, here's local food that isn't too crazy. You'll enjoy it. But then she freaks out about what's on his plate. Like there was like a weird like fried fishing. That was on his
fish?
plate. That was not on her plate.
Oh. I mean, yeah, don't be a hater for what someone else wants to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I can't handle people being huge babies about food. It's kind of offensive to me to look at somebody. You know, I have kids, and I always tell them like, stop. You cannot say the food that I'm eating is gross. That's rude. Stop saying it. Like I tell that to my 5-year-old. Stop saying ew. You don't have to eat it. Just you don't have to say ew or gross or comment about my food because you don't like it. Stop.
Yeah, you should at least try it before you can have any kind of opinion about it.
Yeah, this is that we get there as for an adult, absolutely.
And I mean, and it's okay if you don't want to try it because it weirds you out, but then that's fine, but you shouldn't have an opinion about it.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut.
Okay,
it's
that's
okay
just
to keep
not
your
my
mouth shut.
thing.
You don't have to say anything about it.
I'm not interested in trying it.
You especially don't have to then take that opportunity to knock somebody for not going down on you. Because that's what she...
Oh, gosh.
She's like, you'll eat this, but you won't eat something else. I was like,
oh, God.
Maybe that's not in general, Angela. Maybe that's just yours. Maybe that's just you.
Okay, so they start talking about their lawyer stuff. I have to move on. I just can't have that thought in my mind. Okay, so they're talking about their lawyers, and Angela gets mad that Michael has seen an immigration lawyer in Nigeria because she's like, no, Lou is the guy. Why are we even looking at another immigration lawyer? Like,
right.
I don't care who you saw.
Like what Lou has done has gotten us to this point. Why are we still going with Lou? Like I don't understand at the point where like you got denied. You'd be like, well, we got to stick with this lawyer. He's the best. You'd be like, is he though? Because you got denied.
Yeah, you got denied.
Well, and I didn't understand. Like she talks about the Nigerian lawyer. We know what the Nigerian lawyer said. They said it last time. They said,
yes.
You know, it's better off to get married here and go with that. And like Angela's response to that was, well, of course she's Nigerian. She's going to say that. It's like, what? I don't understand what
that makes no
being
sense.
Nigerian has to do with it. Like, of course she's Nigerian. She's going to disagree with me. Is that what she's saying? I didn't get that.
I don't know. That made no sense. Yeah, but they realize that they have differing ideas of how to resolve their issue. And so Michael it sounded like he got her to soften up to the idea. I mean, he didn't convince her by any means, but she seemed a little bit more open. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like that's just like, so we can squeeze some more episodes out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, she also, has to give us another instance of misunderstanding civics again, because her family has a right.
Oh, gosh.
To see her get married.
Gosh.
Like,
oh, they do.
Does she know what a right is? Because everything she says a right is not a right at all. Like, what does she think a right is?
No. She'll probably say human rights.
I pay my taxes.
I'm a human. You have the right to do this. Like, all right.
I pay my U.S. taxes. And they pay the UN, which that means we should get what we want. Very, very.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I think that was it, right?
That was
we
it.
did not hear from Robert and Annie or Sasha and Emily
That's
this
correct.
week.
Yep.
All right. What about your student of the
Sarah.
week? Oh, we have been really like eye to eye on things. I put Sarah too. The thought was, if he says Sarah, I'm going to say Juliana. But Juliana was mine last week too. So I don't know. But Juliana and Sarah.
She was just super supportive, super awesome. Like,
yeah.
That's the ideal, the platonic ideal of what you want. Like, if I did have an ex-wife and I had a new wife, how would I like them to get along? It's like pretty much that.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, absolutely. She was definitely the coolest. She seems to have the healthiest attitude about, her relationship with Michael. And, she's not crossing any boundaries. And yeah, she's been so welcoming, which I know could easily go another way. So yeah, absolutely agree. And what about your dunce then?
Anna.
What? That is so funny. We have another double dunce. I also said Anna.
Oh, just for doing this stupid thing. And then when the one that maybe I wrote it down, not even when the episode was over, as soon as Marcel walked out of his hotel room and she was standing there to take him to the airport, I was like, dunce, Anna. Like, done. Like,
yep.
That's it.
So I decided when she had said that thing about like, I can't believe this is happening. I was like, oh my gosh, she's the dunce for not being realistic about her situation. And really at the end of it, it's like, how is she surprised by any of this? And so I was like, yeah, dunce. You're an idiot. I don't know what you're doing.
Just everything she has done has been saying one thing, but wanting another thing to happen. And that's just, I can't deal.
Yep.
I can't deal with it.
Agreed.
All right. What about your life lesson?
Okay, my life lesson is, and this stems from what Tanya kind of pulled with Sinjin. Don't throw the I love you in to assure that things are okay in the heat of an argument or immediately after. You should give each other a little space. And if you're stuck in the same car and that's not possible, silence is also an option. It's like, I can't stand it when people try to kind of go, I love you. And they're like waiting to hear it back just to be like, okay, things are cool with us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't throw that around for that reason.
Oh no, I agree.
Do it.
And I've been guilty of that myself a few times. And you're right. It's like, it's not a good move. It's not a good move.
Yeah. And she calls Sinjin needy.
Yeah. It totally comes from a place of insecurity, which is not a place you should be throwing any of your relationships out stuff from.
Or throwing the I love yous, you know, kind of going back to Mike and Natalie. You shouldn't be throwing out I love yous just like, you know, because you're feeling insecure about something and you need reassurance. All right. What about your life lesson?
All right. So my life lesson comes from Blake and Jasmine. And that's that your friends and family and your significant other, your partner and your friends, whatever you do, your people at work, they don't have to be one big happy family. Everybody's doing stuff with everybody all the time. That's another thing I feel like people get from TV. Like they watch too many sitcoms where it's like there's only 6 of them and they do everything together and they're always together all the time. And that's not the way like life works. You usually have one group of friends that does this, another group of friends that does that, and I do this with my wife, and that's okay and normal. So that's kind of going towards Blake's friends who were like, I don't know if she fits in with the big group, and it's like, you know what? She doesn't have to.
True. All right. So we have kind of played around with the idea of recapping the 90-day Just Landed, which is I don't know what you would call it, a web series?
Yeah, I'd say a web series. It's
available on the app. Yeah, and they're very short. So if you would like to follow along with us, I think our plan is to have it next week sometime.
And we're just going to, the episodes are really short. I think there's like 6 15-minute episodes or something. So we're just going to do the whole thing at once.
Yes. Yeah. So it's about 2 hours total. Yep. And then this week we'll still have our classic episode. We started last week with season 3, episodes 1 and 2. And so this week we'll be covering season 3, episodes 3 and 4.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll see you all
See everybody
soon.
then. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.